Okay, I would like to call to order the regularly scheduled Sylvania Township meeting for November 8th at 5 p.m.
Call the roll. Mr. Crandall?
Here.
Mr. Mahoney? Here. Mr. Genowine?
Here.
Simcoe? Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did anybody have any corrections or anything they wanted to do for the October 17th minutes?
I'm good. Motion approved?
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Second.
Oh, you seconded it. Okay. Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes. Do we have any additions? I'd like to add something under administrator.
Okay.
And I'd like just to comment, congratulations on you both, for how hard you guys worked. You guys did a great job, so congrats.
Thanks, It's been an honor to serve this community for 8 years, and I definitely am looking forward to the next 4, so thanks.
That's great.
Thanks. Congratulations, John. It's good.
Congratulations.
It's always good to catch up with your family every 4 years, so.
When it comes to families working, I think you got me beat, John.
Are you caught up on rest?
Huh?
Are you guys caught up?
Not a chance.
Not really.
Not tonight. I think it'll be early.
I got up at 4:30 in the morning and got home at 11:30. My wife says, I'm going to bed. I said, I'm too wound up. I got to unwind.
Anyways, congrats, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hearing of the public. Did I see Deb in here? Yes. Yes.
Right here, there's two people that also have comments.
Okay.
Deb, you want to come on up?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting us have the opportunity to speak. I'm Deb Cheney. I live in Savannah City, 5736 Summit Street. I'm the director to Savannah Community Action Team, or as many of you know, as SCAT. And we have been a voice of prevention in our community for 32 years. Our mission is to help prevent drug and alcohol use among our youth and to promote positive youth, family, and community development. And I've come here as a concerned community member and also to represent SCAT. It has come to our attention that there had been a request for a potential business to open up a medical marijuana dispensary, potentially on Central Avenue across from Walmart in August. That has not come to fruition at this point in time, but we know that there's other places that are vacant that most likely will be sought after. According to the parameters set by the State of Ohio Board of Pharmacy under the Medical Marijuana Advisory Committee, there will be 60 dispensaries that will be allowed in our state, and 2 dispensaries will be in Lucas County. It's my understanding that an application went to the Toledo Plan Commission on November 1st for a dispensary on Sylvania Avenue east of Secor Road. This is only 4 miles from Sylvania. It's a relatively short distance for someone to go if they need to purchase their medical marijuana. Do we really need to have something here in our communities with something so close if that happens? And there are other considerations that need to be addressed. What have we learned from other communities who have medical marijuana dispensaries? What are some of the issues they have had to deal with? Crime increases. And why? One of the reasons is that all the monetary transactions of the purchases of medical marijuana is cash only. Medical marijuana has been passed by the state of Ohio, but marijuana is still illegal under federal law. Therefore, that means that banks cannot do business with marijuana businesses. They will have to go through an individual's account, cash only. Cash only will increase the need for security at all times. According to the April 2017 Journal of Primary Prevention, an Ohio State study of Denver, Colorado found that legal marijuana shops are linked to higher levels of property crime in nearby areas. The studies started before recreational marijuana sales were even approved. The number and density of outlets was important, not whether it was medical or recreational outlets. In the same study, legal sales of marijuana were linked to an increase in burglaries and other crimes at the outlets themselves. In 2016, our Township Police Department filed approximately 200 charges related to drugs. Now granted, that's through the whole township, but a dispensary has potential to increase those numbers. We have many thriving businesses along our business strips, but they also back up to many of our communities that have established residential areas filled with families with and without children. A dispensary near those areas would decrease their level of safety. Medical marijuana is here to stay, and that only increases the concern about driving under the influence of marijuana, whether it's medical or recreational. One of the most common concerns among the law enforcement of communities with dispensaries is safety on the roads with drivers driving under the influence. The possibility that there will be an increased number of drivers on the road driving under the influence of marijuana is highly probable. If a dispensary is here, they'll be coming to our community to purchase their medical marijuana and possibly drive away after using them. Will there be revenue from marijuana businesses? There will be an excise tax or a sales tax on all sales of the cultivation, process, and dispensary levels, but there will be no local jurisdictions will receive any of this revenue. Will the marijuana dispensary contribute to our community values? We need to ask ourselves if a local pot dispensary would meet our community values and contribute to the safety and well-being of our community. A wise man once said, "To tolerate is to teach." If we permit or tolerate a dispensary in our community, we're sending an unwritten message to our youth that it is acceptable and safe. We will be changing the landscape of our environment and decreasing the perception of risk of marijuana use by our youth. As elected representatives of this community, you have all worked diligently to bring in businesses and improve policies and procedures that will improve or contribute to the safety and the well-being of our community. The legitimacy of doctor-recommended medical marijuana is here to stay, but each community has a right to welcome cultivators, processors, or dispensaries with open arms, or to adopt bans or moratoriums for various reasons. Many think that all the communities in Colorado where medical and recreational marijuana have been approved are all in agreement to have marijuana businesses in their community, when in fact there are 68 local jurisdictions in Colorado that have banned medical and recreational marijuana businesses completely from their communities. If a decision is not made tonight to ban dispensaries in our township, please seriously consider a moratorium so that all points can be researched before a final decision is made for our community. Swanton, Perrysburg City, Perrysburg Township have banned all medical marijuana businesses, including cultivation, processing, and dispensaries. Waterville Township, White House Township, and Monclova Townships all have moratoriums on these processes. A medical marijuana dispensary will change the complexion of our community and contribute to the perception that marijuana is acceptable and harmless. All research shows that a decrease of the perception of a risk of any substance or activity, there will be an increase in the use or involvement of that activity. Our youth are most at risk here. It is about their perception of harm and risk that will ultimately affect their future success and well-being. It's about making one more substance easily accessible and available. We deal enough with underage alcohol use. Let's not add the easy access and availability of another substance to the mix. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Deb. Good job. Mary?
Hi, I'm Mary Gombash, and I am a medical physician. And we've discussed this same issue of medical marijuana at the Academy of Medicine Community Health Commission, which I belong to. And really, there was no good indication of having a medication that you smoke. Also, with a physician recommendation to try medical marijuana, it is not a prescription. It is a card that you take to the dispensary, and the knowledgeable pharmacist, who's whatever, decides what type of combination of THC and CBD that you require. And it really is not of any benefit to our community. It's actually dangerous, and they've found in a lot of communities now that people will try the edibles and then become very, very sick and toxic and have what's called hyperemesis from smoking marijuana, where they just can't stop vomiting and coming into the emergency departments. Also, medical marijuana also means that you're getting high. It's not that you're treating a seizure disorder. So, it's something to keep in mind.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks. Well, Daryl, I actually saw you on the news the other day, so thank you for going to that forum. Do you want to give us an update or inform the board in terms of, are we going to slide into zoning here, or?
Was there one more person?
Oh, Sandy, I'm sorry. Sorry, there was 2 sheets of paper.
I'm not going to say a whole lot. I will take on, I promise. Public speaking isn't what I I'm Sandy Hussman, and full disclosure, I should say I'm also a member of Sylvania City Council. But why I'm here today is I'm on the SCAT board as a representative, actually, from Sylvania City Council, and since I've been on council 7 years, I've been on that board. And I am concerned about how our young people perceive our community and the use of marijuana, mainly. And I'm not against medical marijuana in any way. That's for other much smarter people to decide. But I do think that our children, our young people are watching, and the state legislation does allow for home rule. So we have every possibility to make the decision not to have any of the marijuana processing, cultivation, or dispensing to take place in our communities. And I think that that's what Sylvania Township should do. I think that's what the city of Sylvania should do, and I will work towards that in the next few weeks. So,
Have you guys addressed the issue at all, or brought up in any of your planning?
The only thing I can say that we have done, John, is we passed legislation that any agricultural cultivation of any sort needs to come before city council. So that's not a huge problem for us in Sylvania because we don't have much land for agriculture. You have some more, so that certainly would be something you would want to look at as well. And I would encourage you to do a complete ban, and if you feel comfortable at this time doing that, but at least to do, I would hope maybe a 90-day moratorium so that you can look at it more if you feel you need to. But that's just...
Thank you. I think the issue keeps coming up, so we wanted to address it and get as much information as possible. I don't think we're prepared to make a move this evening, but I think I kind of assume, I think we know where we're headed and what we're looking for. So it's great to hear everybody's input, and I am looking forward to hearing what Daryl has.
Right, under the zoning, which will be at 6 o'clock, we have an item on the agenda for the discussion of it.
Okay.
And I think it would be fair that people that saw the agenda that met, I don't know if they're not, but somebody might be coming at 6 o'clock to discuss it, so I would hold off on any action now or discussion, unless you want to just discuss it and then rediscuss it at 6, that's fine.
No, that's fine. We haven't quite mastered this zoning meeting 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock yet, so let's work the kinks out of this and figure it out, and we'll just address that at 6 o'clock then.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
And like I said, the zoning items are all at 6, so the next item up is Rob. Rob, do you have anything?
Rob, I can only imagine you guys in for a bad couple of weeks, because there are still a lot of leaves on the trees, and we're already creeping into the second week of November, so they're all going to come fast, and winter's probably not going to be too far behind it. So I certainly wish you a healthy crew, and good luck.
On that note, I did push the contractors back a week, so that will give us some relief if the snow does come. We'll have the ability to put full force out there.
Good.
Second week of December.
Well, so far you're keeping up with it.
Thanks, Rob. Chief Ram, do you have anything? You have anything for Chief Ram?
Nope.
All right, then, Chief Bowman?
this quick.
Why don't you stand up? Kind of face. Andrew, I'm going to administer the oath of office for a Sylvania Township police officer, but I want to point out that you actually derive your police powers and authority under the Ohio Revised Code as a township police officer from the trustees through their appointment to this position. With that being said, would you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Andrew Trumbull,
I, Andrew Trumbull,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio
and the laws and ordinances of Sylvania Township,
and the laws and ordinances of Sylvania Township,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of police officer and constable
discharge the duties of police officer and constable
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, good luck. Chief, you got nothing else?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Under the administrator, I have resolution 17-125, which is to accept the street lighting petition. This is for Waterside Plat 4, from Dwayne Enke, from Gulf Street Development, and we're setting with this resolution, we'll set a hearing for December 5th, 2017.
I'll offer resolution 17-125 to accept street lighting petitions for Waterside Plat 4.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes. And Mr. Simcoe, I turn it over to you.
Well, I wanted to bring up something.
Oh, that's right here, Mr. I'm sorry.
You know, it came to my attention on October 25th that you were nowhere to be found here, and there were 8 township employees sitting here waiting for an insurance meeting, and it took you over a half hour to get here. You know, our insurance is the single most expense we have at the township, and it's something that it's got a lot of moving parts and is blowing up right now. And I went to the Outlook calendar, and I noticed that you can only tell, you put blocks saying you're busy here and there. I think for the benefit of the trustees who aren't able to spend all days here, if you could go in and fill in those days so we could take a look at them, and I've asked Sam to make sure that the trustees and maybe Dave or whoever else wants it to have the ability to see your calendar and things, and that way we'll get a better idea of what you're working on it and when you're working on it.
On my calendar, and I think when Jen uses it, it says what it actually is.
Okay.
It doesn't just block out.
Yeah.
But you have to get permission, and Sammy can take care of that, where you see the actual calendar right now, like you said, it just blocks it out.
Yeah.
But the actual individual items are always in there, so we'll
And if
take
you
care
could
of
just
that.
keep it up to date,
Yeah.
you know, whatever, 8 to 5 you're here, or
Sure.
whatever, that would be great.
Right.
I just have 2 resolutions. Resolution 17-128, and that's for the township appropriation from unencumbered balance. Let me see here. Yes, here it is, Jason. We need to increase the advanced out funds for the police grants account due to the award of the bulletproof vest grant. It's kind of moving money. You know, usually we apply for the grants, we've got to advance the money, and then we get the grant, they give it back to us, and that's what we're doing here.
I'll offer Resolution 17-128, Township Appropriation from Unencumbered Balance, Revised Code 5705.40.
Second.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
And then Resolution 17-129, funds are needed in the bulletproof vest grant fund. Well, we really didn't have enough money in the fund, and so that's part of this is supplementing that, that's all. And so it's basically having to do again with getting the bulletproof, the vesting that Dykstra.
I'll offer Resolution 17-129, advance of funds.
Second.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thanks. Anybody sign in? No?
Nope.
Okay. Well, what do you think we go into executive session and try and get that taken care of before we reconvene at 6 o'clock for our zoning?
That's a good idea.
I have a couple things to add to executive session.
Okay.
Request.
Bring a hopeful words there tonight, so we're on a tight schedule.
Okay.
The executive session will be for collective bargaining, all unions. I also have an executive session item for pending or imminent court action, and we have an attorney here that will be coming to that part. And the last thing is, under personnel matters, to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee.
Okay, I would like to go in, or offer a motion to go into executive session at 5:20 to discuss collective bargaining for all unions, pending court action, and a promotion or disciplinary action for an employee.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall? I think
Yes.
it's 5-1.
Hey, John.
No, I don't think anyone's here to speak on it.
I can't find Daryl.
He's here.
Here. Right hand, left hand. I don't have good sight vision.
Sammy, are you ready?
Really?
Yeah. They opened the door in here or something. It was drafty.
Yeah?
We're waiting for Sam. Well, we'll get started. I'll offer a motion to come out of executive session at 6:03.
Second.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes. I would, so that would bring us up to zoning. Darrell, you want to take it from here?
Good evening. We have before us tonight a zone change request for the properties at 3331 and 3233 Percentum Road. These are two adjoining lots on the west side of Percentum, about 0.2 miles north of Central Avenue, situated right behind the Lowe's Home Improvement Store. The combined size of the parcels is approximately 9.5 acres. And the applicant is requesting the zone change tonight from A4 to R3 PUD, planned unit development, in order to develop the site for villa-style multifamily residential. The proposed development would consist of 66 single-story units throughout 10 buildings. Each unit would have an attached two-car garage and driveway, and there will be one main private drive, a U-shaped drive through the development, with two access points on Percentum Road. The Sylvania Township Land Use Plan recommends transitional uses for this part of the township. The transitional uses allow for less intense commercial or multifamily residential uses as a buffer between the more intense general commercial and less intense single family. Recommended residential density for a transitional use is 10 to 15 units per acre. This proposed development is 6.9 units per acre. And the Sylvania Township zoning resolution dictates a maximum of 7 units per acre for an R3 PUD. The Sylvania Township zoning resolution states that a maximum of 40% of the gross parcel acreage shall be devoted to coverage by building, structure, street, driveway, or parking. This site plan indicates 40.6 coverage, about 3.85 acres. And the applicant is requesting that this requirement be waived to allow for the additional 0.6%. So the trustees, if they approve this zone change, part of that approval would encompass the waiver of that 0.6% coverage. The zoning resolution also requires open space of a minimum 15%. The applicant's site plan is 20%, which is 1.87 acres of the development. So they're extra 5% on open space. And the proposed site plan meets all the other requirements of the zoning resolution as far as setbacks, parking, etc. The zoning resolution does not require fencing on a multifamily property abutting residential uses. However, at the zoning commission, some of the neighboring property owners brought up their concern regarding this, and the applicant indicated that he'd be willing to work with the residents to install fencing between the homeowners and the development. Lucas County Plan Commission and the Township Zoning Commission both unanimously recommended approval of this zone change excuse me, at their respective meetings. And finally, Sylvania Township Zoning staff recommends approval of the requested zone change from A4 to R3 for the following reasons. The proposed zone change is compatible with the recommendation of the Sylvania Township Land Use Plan. Apart from the 40% maximum coverage requirement, the proposed zone change meets the conditions of the zoning resolution. Staff recommends approval of the waiver request by the applicant for the 40.6% coverage based on the density of the proposed development at 6.9 units per acre, coming in just under the maximum density, and the proposed development's open space at 20%, coming in over the minimum requirement of 15%. We also recommend approval because of the proposed PUD being harmonious with neighboring uses, and it should have minimal, if any, unfavorable impact upon surrounding properties. And lastly, staff recommends approval of the zone change request be provisional upon the 43 conditions outlined in the Lucas County Plan Commission staff report of September 27th, 2017.
Thank you. I would now like to open up the public hearing to discuss the approved zone change request from A4 Rural Residential to R3 PUD for the property located at 3331 and 3233 Percentum Road. Anyone here to speak for or against this project? Seeing that there is no one, I would like to, I guess we did that at 6:08, and I would like to close the public hearing at 6:09. And I would like to offer Resolution 17-126, approve zone change request from A4 Rural Residential to R3 PUD Residential for the property located at 3331 and 3233 Percentum Road.
Second?
Call the roll, Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Well, I've got a few questions.
Okay.
I think
Please.
Yep.
the motion's on there, but I just got a couple of minor things. I think the developer's willing to install fencing if you can work it out to the property owner. I don't think we need another condition. We got 43 now. But I'd like to see if you reach agreement with them that the fencing be a part of the landscape plan. So they don't change, you don't change, they don't change, and then the township would have that a part of the landscaping plan. I think it assures everybody that whatever you agree to then gets implemented. That's okay. And then, Greg, I got a question for you. On the 30-foot green area in the front, I think you're given 5 more feet to bring it to 30-foot width. Do you have enough room for a 30-foot green strip? It doesn't look to me like you do, but you would have it in the open space area. You follow what I'm...
No, say that again? So we've got the 30-foot building line.
Yeah, but you've got also a 30-foot, I think the 30-foot's coming from the new right-of-way line, or is it coming from the All I'm saying is, it doesn't look to me by scale that you got room to put a 30-foot green strip through that area. The Plan Commission recommends adding some shrubbery. I'm not sure you got 30.
The 30-foot green space would be in the 30-foot building line, so those would be the same lines.
I thought there was a 5-foot additional dedication, but maybe if you can work it out, that's fine.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I don't remember if there was a 5-foot dedication, but we do have room for a 5-foot dedication.
Yeah.
If that's the case, we have room for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I don't think it's too critical, because when you come up to the buildings, it looked like you had a brick work there. You wouldn't really need, you could just, I think that you're really talking about the open space area, and there you got plenty of room.
Yeah, I think we have enough room for it, yeah.
So, I just wanted to confirm that you
Okay.
can do it.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you.
Okay, call the roll now. Mr. Genowine?
Yep.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Daryl, I think we're going to, I asked our attorney in executive session just briefly about the medical marijuana and
Right.
things. I think if you could just send the stuff to us, either electronically or stick it in our mailbox, let's take a look at this, and then maybe talk to each trustee and see if we want to move forward. I do appreciate you attending the meeting there in West Toledo and gathering the information we have. I think, but in an effort to save time this evening, Mr. Crandall's going to the Hope Awards, and Neil, are you going? No. I got to get to bed. It's been a long night.
Can we?
If you don't mind, I mean, I think the people who were here to speak for it have spoken,
And the attorney, we did ask our attorney, we're not voting on anything tonight.
Right, so
Yeah.
this is just beginning the discussion of it.
Right.
I might add, is anybody here that came to speak again?
I was interested in what the discussion was going to take place about the issue. If you're going to supply written documentation to the trustees, I'd like to see that available to others also.
we can put it online. I mean, just the information, and again, before we take a vote on it or make a move on it, we'll have a public hearing on it for sure.
Absolutely, but it would be beneficial to know what information you're reviewing, taking under consideration.
Okay. Can you get it on the zoning point and put it up there? And if you could email a copy to Bud and Mary and Deb as well, just so everybody has a copy of it. And even, well, I guess attach it to this agenda as well, right? So if they wanted to go out to it.
I just want to add, though, that, I mean, obviously, this isn't something we have to do, like, tomorrow, but at this point, we're nowhere. We don't have a moratorium or a ban, or we don't have any zoning regulations. And according to legal counsel, that is leaving us somewhat open if somebody did want to come in, being that retail and pharmacies are permitted uses in a C2, in a C1 district for that matter. It does leave us somewhat open if somebody wanted to challenge us on that. So we kind of have to go somewhere, have some kind of regulation one way or the other on this.
I think we were informed that the application process has to be finished by November 17th or something, so that window is fairly short, and I don't think it's going to impact us, and that's one of the reasons, again, why the urgency or thing has kind of faded a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely want to set the policy here in the township, whether a moratorium or a complete ban.
Agreed.
We'll have to take a look at the information you provide.
Okay. Then I just have one last item. And that is the Resolution 17-127, authorization of abatement of debris/garbage for the property located at 5747 Roberts Road. And I believe the trustees were provided with some of the background information on that property.
I'll move Resolution 17-127 to authorize abatement of debris
and garbage for the property located at 5747 Roberts Road.
Second?
Mr. Randall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Adjournment at 6:15.
Second?
6:15.
Yep.
Mr. Randall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.